we will be introducing the second speaker at this time, and the second speaker will be Jonathan Moody, and he will be speaking on everyday leadership.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, our honored Toastmaster today, and our honored guests. By a show of hands, how many of you could comfortably say that you are a leader? Here in Toastmasters, we have an odd group of people who are willing to admit that they're leaders. But multiple times when I've asked that question to groups of people, the majority of the people are very timid in raising their hands at all, if at all. Liz kind of gave it. Why is that? What's the real thing here? Here in our society, in American society, we've made leadership out to be this magical status that we one day may feel like we've earned. But to claim that we have it now, today, is almost arrogant. It comes off almost as braggish. And I'd like to change that, because if we don't start thinking of ourselves as leaders now, we're never going to be leaders in the future. And furthermore, if we don't start celebrating the fact that we can be leaders, we're going to diminish the other things that we celebrate in life. I mean, we celebrate only the most the most rare occurrences in life, the ones that are the most profound, graduations, the births of children, everything else, and that's great. But to celebrate the minor accomplishments, the times we're able to be leaders in life every day, would be a fantastic thing just for making our society, I think, whole. The reason why I had this epiphany, this was a moment in my life that wasn't necessarily a leadership role, but it created a paradigm shift in my mind that has led me to believe what I believe today about leadership. For a number of years, again, like Liz, I was a member of an acting troupe. I would go to this thing, and I just sort of had fun with it. It was nothing more than a hobby. And I walked in one day, and it was my last day in the troupe. I was moving out of the area I was living in, and a young lady who I never said boo to in 4 years that she'd been in the group came up to me and she goes, "I still remember the day that I met you." She tells me that the day she met me, she came into the club and she had no idea what she was doing. She wanted to be an actress, but she didn't believe that she had the chops necessarily. She just wanted to see if she could do it. It was her dream. And she got there and she was petrified, she told me. She's deathly afraid of getting up there on that stage and doing anything for anybody. And she told me, "You came in wearing the dumbest hat I've ever seen." It was awesome. And you had this big bowl of lollipops. And for whatever reason, you're passing out lollipops to people. You got to me and you stopped dead and you just stared. It was creepy. And you looked around and you saw that you went up right up to the guy next to me. And you said, "You'd better give that young lady some candy. That beautiful young lady next to you deserves a lollipop." Never saw somebody get more embarrassed in their life, she told me. That right that moment, the man's face turned bright red. Took the lollipop, wouldn't even look at her. Now, I noticed the young lady had a couple friends behind her, one of which appeared to be her mother. So evidently, this is what she's telling me, I turned to her mother very sternly and I said, "Look at her, first day out of the house and she's accepting candy from strangers." And she told me, "I know it's dorky, I know it's kind of weird, but I need to tell you that day, for whatever reason, your mentality was able to make me feel comfortable and at ease, and because of that, I decided to go ahead and continue with the program. I was about to go home right before you came in, because I was deathly afraid of what I had to face that day." Got an invitation recently The young man that I handed the lollipop and the young lady who was handed to are getting married. And while I wasn't necessarily trying to be a leader, it was very nice to have somebody come to me 4 years later and tell me, you affected me profoundly. There's an old quote, and I can't remember for the life of me who said it now, that says, we are not afraid of our imperfections, but of our inexhaustible ability to do good. It is not our darkness that scares us, but our light. People are shy, people are scared to get out there and become these leaders we need to be. But the fact of the matter is that if people don't step up and become leaders, then who's going to lead? Who's going to teach our children and our brothers and our sisters and our, all the little ones coming up if we don't lead them? There's leaders every day. Every mother in the room has been a leader at some point. Every father in the room, every older brother, every older sister, everybody who's ever had a friend who was scared. You've been a leader. And I call to action every one of you to become that leader every day. Celebrate those days. Every chance you get. It'll give importance to them, and it'll make every one of us that much more capable of bringing those that are underneath, those that are feeling downtrodden, scared, and alone, and hurt, or fearful,